Hey, I did a lot last year. From getting COVID the second time and spending an entire weekend in bed, to getting this channel off the ground from 0 subscribers to almost 100, from writing an entire season of a TV show that'll never get made in a month, to failing miserably at learning the program, I had a lot of new developments. So now that we're already in the middle of February, what the hell? I am going to do a bit of a retrospective. Specifically, let's take a look back at some of the media that I consumed this year, because holy crap, there was a lot of it. These first couple entries are actually from the end of 2022, which is over a year ago, and I'm still not over that. But I count them on this list because they really set the tone for what the rest of this year's media would be. Different. I've gone on record before to say that I basically only consume media in my wheelhouse, because I want to make sure I'll enjoy it. This year, I changed that, and that started with me watching The Karate Kid. When I watched this movie, I was starting my 6th year doing Taekwondo, so a movie about someone, about my age, learning martial arts was cool. Add to that how much I, like most people, love stories about underdogs who don't know when to quit. This movie was an easy A tier. I followed it up with The Long Kiss Goodnight, a Christmas action movie. If you like Die Hard, they're really not all that similar, but you'll probably also like this movie. A tier. 2023 finally started. I basically had no idea at this point what work-life balance meant, so I spent most of my time working on those first 5 videos for this channel. It was a lot of work, and I worked my ass off on it. I had very little time to chill, but when I did, I was playing Assassin's Creed 2. Got the Ezio collection for Christmas, and I played it. A touching story that I barely remember because it was so long ago, stealth gameplay that's better than the first game but worse than everyone after it, and a present-day storyline that reminds me that people who think Isu stories are better than present-day stories have no idea what they're talking about. 8. At the same time as I was playing that, I was working on my videos about my Power Rangers series. To get clips of characters talking, I needed to rewatch some stuff. So, I watched Shazam for the second, possibly third time. It was funny. DC is good, and people really need to stop acting like Zack Snyder is the only one who can do anything. Because he can't do anything well with these characters. I'm sorry, that's the spiciest take of this episode. Sorry, probably not, but low end. In addition to the Ezio collection, 2022 ended with me getting AC3 and a bunch of indies that I'd wanted to play for a while. And because the Assassin's Creed games took up a lot of time, I set myself a rule. Between every big AAA game, I was going to play at least one smaller indie. And that leads us to the next game on this list, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Looking back to this game as I write the script, I remember 3 things about it. The art was awesome, 50% of the time I was scared shitless, and the other 50% I was cursing the game out for giving me so many goddamn fetch quests. I also never beat it because for the love of God, stop putting stealth sections in games that don't have the mechanics for them. Big. While playing Batum, I watched Rocky. Rocky is what would happen if you took the Karate Kid and then cut out everything that made it fun. Rocky is a dick, and I don't care about his story. Romance movies are the one genre I completely ignored this year, yet that's clearly what this one actually wants to be, and Rocky doesn't even win at the end of this movie. Add to that the fact that this director clearly had no idea what pacing was, and the only redeeming quality of this movie is that it set up something we'll talk about later. Sin. Maybe that's my spiciest take for this video. Nah, that's not my spiciest take for this video. I'm reasonably sure I watched these next 4 while playing the next game, so I'll start with the game. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This game took everything AC2 did well, the story, the present day, the open world, and the stealth, and made it even better, while also making the city building more important to the gameplay, because now the whole game is just set in one large area. This is our first S-tier piece of media. And then these next 4 movies took me on a freaking roller coaster. I rewatched Power Rangers 2017, and while I'll never sit here and say that it's a stellar work of cinema, it was a blast. If you want to know where about 70% of the unconscious inspiration for The Next Generation came from, look no further. A tier, easily, but lower than anything else so far. After that, I watched The Little Mermaid. You've seen this before. Big. Then, I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The best part of this movie is the title. C tier, higher than Rocky simply because I at least had fun while watching it, even if the movie itself is much worse. I put Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania higher than the original Rocky. That is my spiciest take for this episode. Then the last of these four I watched was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I saw it on the last days it was in theaters, and my gods, it was awesome. I'm not gonna sit here and rehash 100 video essays I'm sure you've already seen. Just go watch the damn movie. S tier, obviously. The next week of my life was devoted entirely to Portal 2. A phenomenal puzzler that improves on everything from the first game and then some. GLaDOS is hilarious, Wheatley even more so. The mystery of, what the hell, GLaDOS was a person? Is awesome, and my only complaint is that there's not more of it. And at this point, the school year was really kicking back up, so my media consumption kinda dropped. But my third block was mythology, a class that I really thought would be fun until we never did anything. My only memories from that class are of the teacher showing us a bunch of cool movies to emphasize something. I think it was related to the hero's journey, although I'm not totally sure. First among those was Star Wars: A New Hope. You've seen this movie. If you say you haven't seen this movie, either stop lying or go watch it. I won't wait. I finally had time to play games again, so at this point, I started playing Assassin's Creed Revelations. Holy shit, this game takes everything the previous two did and makes it even better. Why don't people talk about this more? S tier, obviously. Everyone always talks about how great 2 and Brotherhood are, and they are, but this game just has all of their mechanics, plus the stalking zones from the later games, plus much more advanced stuff to do in combat. And I still don't remember the plot. It is at this point that I am beginning to realize something. Did I fuck up? Nah, of course not. It couldn't have been me that fucked up. Something else must have been going on. This is fine. I don't know what foreshadowing is. My mythology teacher then showed us Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This movie is genuinely What If Rocky but politics, and that sounds like I'd hate it, but damn, this movie is better than I expected. If it had an actual ending, it'd be much higher. As it stands, this is going low bid. After that, I went to a local youth film festival. Now, for privacy reasons, I cannot show any of the actual films because I don't want to dox myself, so I'm also not telling you where it is. But suffice to say, I had a good time. I loved getting to see so many different people's stories that they were telling, and it was fun. This is my first non-media related recommendation for this video. Do you have local film festivals in your area? Specifically film festivals for people who haven't really done filmmaking before, so emerging filmmakers festivals? Go to them. They are awesome. Now, we're back to my completely useless mythology class with Howl's Moving Castle. It was incredible. The animation, the music, the story... Oh crap. It is at this point that we get to an issue. I will bring this issue back up later on, but just remember that foreshadowing is a literary device used to... After that, I watched a completely unrelated movie. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. A touching yet hilarious movie that perfectly captures how it feels to play D&D, especially when all of your friends are idiots. The next game I played took up the next, month and a half of my life, at least. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. This game rules. Statistically speaking, there is basically no way you've seen my video about it, so go watch it. I'm not gonna spoil my thoughts here. But seriously though, this is a cool game with a great story that I've described to many people as, what if Studio Ghibli wrote The Wizard of Oz? It's a ton of fun. There's music in it that I recognize from Howl's Moving Castle, which is cool, and also, I actually watched Howl's Moving Castle while I was playing this game, so I was like, yo, that's the Ni no Kuni theme! I straight up did the DiCaprio pointing meme, except it was for the reverse of what it was supposed to be, because everyone else was like, yo, that's the theme from Howl's Moving Castle, and I was watching Howl's Moving Castle being like, yo, that's the Ghibli theme! That's the Ni no Kuni theme! Miyazaki didn't work on this, but a lot of the other main people from Ghibli did, hence why the music is so similar, and I was actually playing this while I watched those last 3 movies, but I wanted to wait and mention it now, so I'd already set up that I like Ghibli. If you do too, or if you just like good games, and have a lot of patience for crappy fight mechanics, I recommend it. Ni no Kuni took up a ton of my life, yet I barely remember what I was doing while playing it, aside from writing the plot so I could make a crappy video that basically no one saw. The game takes that much of my life associated with what I was doing at that point. I don't have that for this game. I remember it gave me a man moment at the end, but before that, I remember like 4 moments from it, and none of them are related to outside the game. I may have made an error this year. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. You haven't seen it yet? What are you doing, man? Go watch it! The Last Starfighter. A fun, tropey mess that I probably would never have seen, except that my local art house theater was showing it. This is my second non-media recommendation for this video. Find a local art house theater in your area. Like, yes, they generally do show modern movies, but that's not what I mean. Go find a sold-out showing that they're doing of, like, re-showing some old movie. Because that's the thing with art house theaters. Everyone in the audience is gonna be in on it, even if they haven't all seen it, they're gonna be in on it, and they're gonna be having so much fun. That is the energy that all movie theaters should have, and that is why we need to keep movie theaters alive. Sorry, that's not even a hot take, that's just true! Art house theaters is also the true fun of watching a movie like this, and that's why this C-tier schlock that I probably wouldn't recommend is instead going in high B tier. After that, I watched Across the Spider-Verse. I don't need to tell you where this fucking masterpiece goes. The next 4 movies I watched were in a single weekend, because my parents were out of town, I was caught up on work, and I wanted to have some fun. Batman Forever. I'd been warned it was crap. It wasn't. It was what would happen if you took a child's imagination while they played with toys, and then you gave it a budget of $100 million. Let more queer filmmakers make movies. My Neighbor Totoro. A fun, cozy movie that's like 90% Act 1, and yet somehow still excellent the whole way through. Kiki's Delivery Service. I didn't feel like going to bed, so I wanted exactly the same thing as what I just watched. What I got was exactly what I wanted, but slightly worse acting and people who don't know the difference between a blimp and a dirigible. And lastly, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This was finally what I watched the next day, and wow, was it some fucking whiplash! And I'll be honest, between the lackluster English dub, the needlessly long runtime, and how goddamn depressing it was for most of it, it kinda left me cold. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it goes below Batman Forever. Finally beat Ni no Kuni. So when I did, it was time for another short indie. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, is what would happen if Genndy Tartakovsky, a man who hates dialogue with a passion, was given free rein to make a video game. Without a single word ever being spoken than just a grunt, characters whose names are Big Brother and Little Brother, and some of the weirdest controls I've ever had the pleasure of using, this game absolutely broke me. It was a heart-wrenching story of 2 brothers losing their mother, going on a weird-ass adventure that makes basically no sense, and wait. You can beat this game in a weekend. I'm not spoiling how it ends. Go play it! It rules! This game is definitively a man game. S tier. The next movie I watched was Kung Fu Panda. It wasn't my favorite movie I watched this year, but I do consider it the greatest movie ever made. S tier, obviously. And then, in very quick succession following that, I watched the first 2 Terminator movies. And wow, that is some fucking whiplash. Terminator is a monster movie, as Sarah Connor tries to escape a murderous machine. Terminator 2 is an action movie, as Sarah Connor teams up with her son in a recreation of the murderous machine. Both are A, but I think T2 ekes out the original by just a bit. Assassin's Creed 3, a worse version of the previous game that has good stalking zone stealth, but a terrible story, and I don't understand why people like Hatham, let alone Connor. B. All-Star Superman. Just read the comic. The comic is excellent. This movie has 0 redeeming qualities. D. Halloween 1978. I fail to see how this is frightening. Frankenstein 1931. It's old, but big parts of it definitely hold up. Dracula, 1931. It's really impressive that they cast an actual vampire as Dracula. Friday the 13th. My new favorite slasher, Nightmare on Elm Street. I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street alone in my house at night. I thought my parents were both asleep, so I had gotten to the point that I was tuning out all background noise because I was too frightened and I couldn't deal with the threat of someone being in my house. And because of that, I didn't hear my dad as he was intentionally loud walking down the hall. I did not hear my dad until he grabbed me on the shoulder and I nearly judo flipped him. A. And now we get to May. You know what I did in May. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom is an open-world masterpiece that improves on my only grievance with Breath of the Wild. There wasn't more of it. S tier, and in case it wasn't obvious, nothing will top this game. I remember so much of this game vividly. Being terrified of the depths and wanting to stay out of them at all costs, thinking the Skylands were cool but without enough to do, simping over Purah in one of the only instances where I've genuinely ever said, I'm ace, but beating Ganondorf in one of the coolest moments in any game I've ever played, sobbing as soon as I put together what happened to Zelda, Mommy, sorry, Mommy, sorry! This game is the centerpiece that I remember my whole year in relation to. Was this before or after I played Tears of the Kingdom was the thing that I kept repeating when trying to figure out where media fell on this list. Then, it was Barbenheimer. Me, my mom, and my best friend all went to go do Barbenheimer in the last couple days before it left theaters. I was in an Oppenheimer outfit, my mom was in a Barbie outfit, and I forgot to tell Jax what to wear, so they were in a 10th Doctor outfit. To the surprise of everyone, including myself, I liked Oppenheimer more. It's top of A tier. Barbie is slightly lower on A tier. The next game I played was Super Hot VR. I beat it in a day because it's really short, but it was a ton of fun while it lasted. Because I beat it so fast, we're gonna go into the next two games I beat right away. Shovel Knight and Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment. Both games are awesome with great stories and nearly flawless gameplay. High A tier, Spectre of Torment just being slightly better because hot damn is it fun! After that, I watched Kung Fu Panda 2, and the only reason I bring it up is because when I was putting it on the tier list, I genuinely had to pause and ask, does Kung Fu Panda 2 beat Oppenheimer? The answer is no, but it was very close, and I find the fact that I said that out loud very, very funny. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Why do you need me to tell you about it? Have you not seen it? Go watch it! Rocky 3. This movie takes Rocky, a character I couldn't care less about, and makes him awesome. Yes, I watched it before too, because they were both about to leave Netflix, and this is the movie that has Eye of the Tiger. And I fucking love Eye of the Tiger, and if you want to hear all of my rants about why I love this song so much, get in the comments! This is depressing. I just realized something. I played 11 more games this year, and all of them were for streaming. I did not particularly enjoy most of them. Here's the rest of the games tier list. I'm gonna stop talking about them now. I had fun with Minecraft, I had fun with the first FNAF, I had a bit of fun with Pizza Sim, mostly in the Tycoon sections, and I had fun with Undertale. That is it. It's the entirety of the fun I had video gaming, starting in October. Speaking of FNAF, it was October. You know what I watched in October. Five Nights at Freddy's. This movie was for the fans, and while some of the elements were kinda lame, Elizabeth Lail just didn't do a great job as Vanessa, I'm sorry, but it's true. It was still an awesome horror movie and an incredible FNAF movie. Very high A tier. Then, thanks to one of my classes, not mythology, that was long since over, I watched The Dead Poets Society. If you haven't seen this movie yet, go watch it. It's really good, it's so incredibly sad, and it is still really damn good. I won't say anything else, because if you know, you know, and if you don't know, watch the movie. I watched 11 movies after that this year. 2 of them are worth bringing up. Klaus. Easy S tier that can only be described as, what if the Emperor's New Groove, but Christmas? and the last movie I watched of 2023, and by far my spiciest take, this is the hot take for this episode, It's a Wonderful Life is mid! It is 90% Act 1, and that Act 1 is boring. Once Clarence appears, it gets kinda good, but if it still weren't for the last, 5 minutes, specifically all the time after Clarence leaves, I'd probably put this movie in D tier. As it stands, I'm gonna say high C. Highest C. But high C. I don't know why I did this. I highly recommend that you do not do this. As I alluded to, I don't remember most of what I played this year. I have a slightly better memory of the movies I watched, but still aren't great. If you don't let what you're watching or playing sit with you for a while, but just kinda forget it, and that's terrifying. I played 22 games this year, and I watched 60 movies, plus all the short films. You wanna know how many of them I remember clearly? Not many, I'll tell you that much. What I remember, for the most part, is rushing to finish the game I was playing about because I was more concerned with beating it so I had something to talk about. Am I glad I watched most of these movies? Absolutely! But I wish I remembered them better, so I wish I hadn't been rushing to watch so many of them. So one of my goals this year is to watch fewer movies, but to remember them better. The ones I remember most clearly are the ones that got me to either make a video or start planning a video. That's why, despite me thinking the first Kung Fu Panda is a better movie, the second is the one I remember. That's why I don't remember much about D&D Honor Among Thieves, but I sure as hell remember the shitty adaptation of All-Star Superman. That's why I don't remember either Terminator movie very well, but I could still tell you all the reasons why Rocky III is an underrated masterpiece. Will I do something like this again next year? Yeah, probably. I already have a list going. But I won't watch movies just because I should. I won't power through games just to beat them, and I definitely won't just skip to the next game. Like I said, I already have a list going, but I'm doing something different. After each piece of media I consume, just if it's just one movie and one game, because holy crap, I'm busy, I am pausing and writing at least a full paragraph talking about my thoughts on it and giving a brief overview of the plot so I don't forget it. I'm not just saying, yeah, it was good, A tier, moving on, like I have been. I'm giving everything I watch and play time to breathe. So if you try to do something like this, if you want to just get through all the major stuff you've had on your bucket list, it won't stop you. Just keep a better log of it than a tier list. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, you probably like hearing me ramble. I don't know why, but you probably do. So, watch these videos right here that have a lot of rambling. And until next time, stay ultra and peace out.